let's see. There we go. There we go. How's everybody doing? Listen, you are at the Real Money Coach Show. We here. We kind of had a little tweak going on there, but we are here, and I'm glad that you are here, and I'm glad that you are watching from wherever you are watching from. And you know how we do it on the Real Money Coach Show. Tell us exactly where you are watching from. Listen, last night at my masterclass, man, we had people from the U.S. Virgin Islands. We had people from all over, and I'm sure tonight that we are also going to have people watching from all parts of the country. Put in the chat where you are watching from. Do not be shy at all. Let us know. This is an exciting time. It is 2023, everybody. Can you believe it? It's 2023 already, and we are ready to get this year started. We're almost, today's the 10th. I can't believe that we are 10 days into the new year already. Listen, Harvey Jones is checking in. Harvey Jones is a faithful watcher. Be with us each and every week. Harvey, I believe that you are going to enjoy the show tonight. We have an awesome guest that's going to share some things with us, and man, gives God the glory. I love that. So who else is watching? Where else are you watching from? While you are checking in, I want to just share a couple things that is going on as far as the Real Money Coach goes. First of all, and Dante, I have a couple slides up in the green room, is the podcast. The podcast, again, we are now podcasting the radio show that comes on Saturday mornings at 7:30 a.m. Because people like Harvey Jones and others that are in different time zones, that's awfully early in the morning, 7:30 Eastern time. And so now you can go to Apple, you can go to Google, you can go to iHeart. My preferred method is to go to YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, with the exception of Spotify. I'll get Spotify set up this week, and then we'll be on Spotify. But just any platform that you probably listen to, even Pandora, we're there. And so what happens is the radio show, it airs at 7:30 on Saturday mornings. At 10 a.m., it drops in all those podcasting platforms. So, and as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, we had the first week of the iPad Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money Masterclass. And so that masterclass is each Monday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Started yesterday with the first chapter of the book, Financial Education. Next week, we'll do the risk and rewards of the stock market, and we'll go through those 7 main chapters of the book. And we're looking for you to participate. We're looking for you to give your input, ask your questions. It's just a community, and we're just using the book as a platform to have these open discussions. And thank you, Alice Martin was on last night. Thank you for being here tonight as well. And so I wanted to remind you of that. And the other thing, we don't have a graphic on this, but when we finish this 7 weeks of the book, the master class, what we're going to do after that is we're going to have 7 weeks of financial intelligence. And so we're going to talk about financial psychology, budgeting, crediting, the whole gamut, going through our whole curriculum eventually in a year's time, because there's 175 different modules in that. So my team, many of them who are CFEI, Certified Financial Education Instructors, will be leading those courses. So we'll do 7 weeks of the masterclass of the book, 7 weeks of the financial intelligence, 7 weeks of the masterclass again, and then we'll kind of rotate that until we go through a full curriculum. And you're going to be blessed. Because what we want to do is raise financial IQ. And for those of you who may be in the greater Atlanta area, I will be there on the 28th of January at the Big Business Conference, hosted by Larry Boykins, who was a guest on our show a few weeks ago. He's got a great lineup. It's going to be awesome. So if you're in the greater Atlanta area, meet me there. It's from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I think there's after party or something like that later on that evening. But let me know. And if it's something that you're interested in attending, let me know, because I can get you a discount on the ticket to attend. So we're looking forward to being a part of that. So that's all of my announcements that I have. So let's bring on the co-host. Let's bring on Mrs. Michelle Mitchell. Michelle, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Tony?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good.
Good.
It's an exciting year
It is.
already.
Oh,
You know, I'm
already.
so excited about 2023.
Me
And part
too.
of what makes me so excited about 2023 is, we just we didn't limp through 2022. I mean,
Right.
2022 was a
Was.
great year for business, great year for serving people. And I do believe the more we serve people, the more we'll be blessed and all that kind of stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't one of those years like, I think for 2020 was tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of COVID, hit
Yes.
a lot of people by surprise. People had to re-engineer their businesses, all these
Mm-hmm.
type of things. And then 2021, you kind of, getting used to that. But I think 2022 was a good year. And I think
Yes.
2023 is going to be even better.
Yes. So do I.
All right. So we're in agreement. And you know
Yes,
what it
we are.
says. You know what the word says, where two or three agree,
That's
right?
right.
Right.
Yes.
He'll be in the midst of it. So,
That's
Michelle,
right.
tell us what's going on with you. I mean, I've seen some of your stuff in LinkedIn and on Instagram. I know you have a great conference coming up uh, Thursday afternoon, I do believe.
Yes. Thursday afternoon, I will be a speaker at the Marketing Madness Live summit, I guess you could say. It's from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. And there's different people who are going to be there talking about different parts of marketing. But I'll be there so that you can, once you have these new leads coming in, we need to generate profit, right? So
Right.
once you're using all of these tactics to bring in the new leads and you're using these marketing tools, I will be there to talk about um, creating profit with every sale that you make. So
Yeah, I saw your topic and I thought it was very interesting because just having leads don't mean you're making money, right?
that's correct.
And
Yes,
so you need to be able to take those leads and then generate a profit, like you're saying. You need to
that's right.
generate because if it doesn't make money, it
It
doesn't
doesn't
make
make sense.
sense, right?
That's
And
right.
so,
Yes.
um, so yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. So that looks great. So if any, and I do believe, if I remember correctly, Michelle, I thought I saw that it was free.
Yes, this is free. It's 100% free.
Um,
So, I mean, you can't help but to come, right? And learn some things about marketing, even if you're just an individual and you don't have a business. You are still marketing every day. You're marketing your own personal brand.
right.
So you could use some of these principles for your own personal branding, because if you are an employee and you're looking for, new opportunities, you need to turn within yourself and create some of these um, initiatives for yourself to help you get to another place in your career. So it can be for business owners, or you may start a business in the future, and it's free information. So
Get the information. Get
yeah,
the
it's
information.
free information.
And thank you for Benita Harris, Dr. Benita Harris, who is checked in with us. Now, and Dr. Harris just had a birthday. I saw her I think she was
Oh,
down in Hilton Head,
happy
or somewhere, enjoying her birthday with her mom and her aunt Constance. So great, great to have you with us tonight. And here's the thing, and I can't remember exactly where I saw this, but I saw this where it was talking about that even if you have a 9 to 5 job, you have a regular job, that
birthday.
you should always be branding yourself,
Yes,
right?
you should.
So, because you may leave that job,
Hmm.
or you're really kind of branding yourself even as you're climbing the corporate ladder,
Yeah.
because it's not always about who you know, right?
Right.
It's about who knows you and what do they know about you. And so that's all
Yes.
part of branding. I
And
want to
who's
talk
in
about
your
this
circle of influence?
centers of influence.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to Steve Harvey the other day with
Mm-hmm.
Lisa, and I thought it was so interesting. He was having a conversation about the glass ceiling.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Michelle, most of us think about the glass ceiling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as we're at the beginning of this year, this is the remarkable part about it. Um, if the ceiling's glass, how
Yeah.
do you even know that it's there, right? But
Exactly.
but here's the thing. Why do we say glass ceiling? You will never run into the glass ceiling unless you have what? Vision.
Right.
You glass ceiling is looking to where you want to go, right?
Yes.
And so in order to even have the concept of a glass ceiling, you got to
Mm-hmm.
first know that you have a vision.
That's
And
right.
I love Ivan Thomas is on tonight. Ivan Thomas, his brand is to defy gravity, right? And I love that, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so if we're going to talk about breaking the glass ceiling, you got to have a vision first.
Yes.
Because if you're looking down or you're looking
Mm-hmm.
behind you where you came from, then you're not looking up. You don't even know that there's a gas ceiling. You won't even
Right.
bump your head on it unless you have a vision. Ruth Bell, thank you for being in the house as well, Ruth Bell. So here's the thing: you you have to have a vision for where you want to go. Habakkuk
Yes.
says, write the vision, make it plain, and
Mm-hmm.
all those types of things. The other thing that he talked about that I thought was pretty inspiring was he said, when you break the glass ceiling, you're gonna get cut.
Yes.
So sometimes we want everything, but we're not willing to get cut,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
And so you got to want it bad enough that you're willing to break through. So you got to have vision, and
Mm-hmm.
you got to be willing to get cut to get to where you want to go. And I think that's amazing. I thought it was real good. So
Yeah. That's really good. And part of what I'm talking about is the CEO mindset,
mm,
and shifting that mindset when it comes to money, because you can't do that if you don't have vision, because where are you going? Otherwise it's status quo, right?
right.
So when you shift your mindset to the possibilities that could come, and you're attending this conference to learn about how to get new people in the door, how to get new customers, then your mind has to be different, because they could come and you could still be in the same financial position you in, but you just have more people,
Right.
right?
So you have more people.
Yeah.
So the funnel is full, but you don't have a
Yes.
process of pulling them through the funnel to the other side.
Right.
And and and,
Yeah.
and it's not. And I think this is pertinent for any business. I mean, even if
Hmm.
you're making blankets or basket weaving or whatever
Oh,
you
for
happen to be
sure.
doing, you
Hmm.
you you have your funnel, but you have to be able to pull people through that funnel to get them where ultimately where they want to go and where you want them to go.
That's correct. So, what is the transformation that you're trying to have on that customer? That
Right.
is what they pay for, and that is where your profit lies,
And the transformation.
in the transformation.
That's my
Yes.
word for this year. Transformation.
Yes.
We want to
Transformation.
make transformational change in our
Yeah.
community. And y'all, that's why we're doing the Saving Money Challenge, because we want to make a
Mhm.
transformational change. And some people say, well, it's a little, right? You're talking to people about saving $100 a month. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of people that's not doing that. But that
Right.
can cause transformational change in our
Yes.
community,
That's
you
right.
know. And so, it's so interesting. I was just on a Zoom with Dr. Dennis Kimbrough and Dr.
Mhm.
George Frazier right before this,
Mhm.
and it's just talking about. They were saying everything you want in life is looking for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything you want in life is
Everything you want
looking
is
for you.
looking for you. Yes.
It's looking for you.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of us getting in alignment
Mm-hmm.
so that our actions, and I always have said this for years as a preacher, is that God is waiting for our actions to get in alignment with our anointing.
That's right.
So
That's right. I
listen,
agree.
go ahead, Michelle.
I know. I got one more thing, Tony. I got to show you.
Okay.
You know, I do this thing with my nieces and nephews every week, every month, right? So we had $100 challenge.
You had the $100 challenge. I remember that.
We had the $100 challenge, and 8 of them had their $100 on our meeting on Sunday.
What?
So
You
I
should have took a
drew
Zoom
for.
picture. You should have
I
took a
know I
Zoom
should have
picture
took
with
a
all of them
Zoom
holding up
picture.
the $100.
8 of them had their $100, and one person was drawn to get an extra $100 from Auntie.
What?
So in December, we're gonna take a picture of their 1,200 $100 bills fanned out, and we're gonna take a picture for you, because then I'm gonna have them invested.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's what I'm
You
talking
talking about transformation. There
about.
you go.
Transformation.
Yeah.
Michelle, I've had this for a long time right here. Y'all can't see it. Y'all don't even know what this is. This is a $1 million bill.
$1 million bill.
Listen, that's my goal.
Yeah.
$1 million cash.
$1 million. Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, we can go all night, but we gotta bring our guest on
All
because
right.
this guy is phenomenal. His name is Martin Perdomo, and Martin is CEO of the Skill Property Finders. It's a multi-million-dollar real estate investment company. Martin's been an entrepreneur for over 2 decades. And let me tell you something, he's got a story and a testimony that I think is so very powerful. I got a chance to interview him for the radio show, and you guys are in for a treat tonight. I don't want to spend much time introducing him because you guys got to hear it straight from Martin's mouth. Martin, come on stage, brother, and talk to us tonight.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thank you guys. Thank you, Tony, Michelle, for having me on your show. It's my pleasure and honor to be here tonight.
Welcome.
Well, man, it's our honor too, the elite strategist, right? So I like both of those words, elite and strategist, right? That just and you put them together, man, that makes a whole lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Martin, man, I was just listening to your story that you shared on the radio about your upbringing till you were 16, and I know you probably get asked to share that all the time, but I need to get you to kind of share a little bit about who you are and kind of that early childhood, and then we can kind of start to unpack where you are today and drop some nuggets on the audience tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you for allowing me to come on your show and share and empower others, because that's the purpose of my life, is to
absolutely
one person can take something and change their life. And I love what you're doing with your podcast and your community. I mean, teaching people about money, that's powerful, right? Because many of us, many people that look like me and yourself, no one's teaching us that. We have to kind of figure that out, reading books, attending seminars. Michelle, congratulations, you're hosting a workshop, so you're out there sharing as well and empowering. So that's awesome. I'm excited for that. You just giving, right? Just giving, just grace. That's one of the 3 things I want to touch on. But going back to what you alluded to, so originally, I have a podcast, as maybe you mentioned, Latinos in Real Estate Investing podcast. My family is originally from the Dominican Republic. I'm the first generation born American in my country. However, I was born in America by the grace of God. My mother came pregnant with me. She went to Puerto Rico, and then she winded up in New York City pregnant with me. She had me here. She had no place to live. So she sends me back to the Dominican Republic. Are you there? Are you guys there? Okay.
Yeah, we're just highlighting you here, brother.
Okay, cool.
That throws people off. I don't know why, but yeah, we got you.
Yeah, so she sent me back to the Dominican Republic because we didn't have she didn't have any place to live until she got established here. Well, I want your audience to picture this, right? When you think about poverty, I want you to think about what you see on TV, those kids walking around in third world countries without shoes and shirts on. I have a picture somewhere around there with my grandma. Literally, we were so poor we didn't have running water, guys. That was me, the kid without shirt and without shoes running around. Um, when it rained, our house was made of tin. When it rained, we would have to put pots and pans on the floor because when the sun hits tin roofs over time, it creates these little pinholes. And when it rains, water comes in the house, so you have to put pots and stuff and then take it out. We didn't have running water. I remember at 3, 4, 5 years old, walking a block to go get gallons of water so we have water to cook, flush the toilet, and just take a shower that day. That's how poor we were. I share this to say that I share that because I want your audience to know that if a guy like me can do what I've done, so can anyone, right? So can you. I'm not special. So fast forward, when I'm 5, my mother brings me over to the United States. At 16, she puts me out for the 9th time, guys. 9th time she puts me out on my 16th birthday. And I quickly realized something at 16 years old, right? Sleeping in trains, sleeping in rooftops, sleeping in parks in New York City, sleeping in friends' sofas. I quickly realized that an adult human being needs 2 things: food and shelter. And I made an unconscious decision at that point at 16. It was an unconscious decision from pain, right? From the pain of sleeping in trains and sleeping in rooftops and sleeping in parks, that I was going to own a lot of real estate. So I would never, ever, ever have to go through that pain again. So I bought my first piece of real estate in 2007. I think I shared this with you, Tony. In your radio show. Bought my first piece of real estate 2007. I was the mortgage guy in 2005. I was the guy that was giving out loans. I was the guy doing those no income, no asset loans. I was the guy that owned the company.
Stated income, that stuff. Yeah.
I was doing all of that stuff, right? That was me. And I had FOMO, fear of missing out. I was giving loans and money to all of these people, Tony. And I thought that I was going to miss out. Man, all the real estate is going to go. So I went and I bought this property, duplex, for $275,000. And when I bought that 2 years later, the market crashed, 2009. That same property that was $275,000 was now $179,000. So about $100,000 underwater. Now, understand that I bought it for the wrong reasons. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand money. I didn't understand how to run the numbers. I didn't know what capitalization rates were. I didn't know what cash flow meant. I didn't know any of this language, right? But the property was making money, right? I was super stressed in 2009 when it happened. Fast forward, I was renting it to college kids, 2014, I think. The property burned down, insurance paid. I had college kids living there. And I attracted that. I believe that I attracted that because I was so stressed. I had this mindset, and I'm going to talk about mindset in a minute. I had this mindset of, man, this is such a problem. This is such a problem. And sometimes what we seek, we find, right? So the great book says, if you shall seek, you shall find. If you ask, you shall receive. And I was so focused on the downside that the universe, God, whatever you believe in, responded. Fast forward, I'm sitting in my office in September. I bought this quad. I bought this 4-unit apartment house in September. And in October, I closed on it. September, the appraiser comes to my office. He's sitting across my desk. I'm writing him a check for the appraisal. He's about to walk to the asset. It's literally 4 blocks away from my office. I said, hey, Jeff, what are you going to bring this property in at? And he says to me, I don't know, but I have some comparables here. He hands me over this manila envelope. I open up this envelope and I look at it, and I see a property 2 doors down from that property I bought in 2007. Sold for $385,000, the exact same property, exact same thing, 2 doors down. And there it was for me. Here we are in 2022. The market is correcting. Interest rates are going up. The stock market is in shambles right now. I mean, Tesla's 65% down. Everything's down. Everything's on sale right now. Bitcoin's crashing, right? Everything's crashing. And there it was, the reminder. Don't wait to buy real estate, Martin. Buy real estate and wait. And that's my message to people when it comes to money. Real estate is, I'm a big proponent of real estate because today I own 112 doors, 112 apartments. I flip. I'm also the biggest flipper in my market here. I flip houses, and I also buy, fix, and rent long term. I focus on the affordable space. And I say this not to impress you, but to impress upon you that if I can do it, you can do it, and anyone else can do it. Anyone else watching can do it. All you got to do is focus, make a decision, commit, take massive action, and you'll get the results that you want and whatever it is that you want.
Man, that's a beautiful message right there, Martin, in terms of, and what I like about that is what you said, that last word you said, take massive action. Because sometimes what happens, and the reason why we don't get the things that we want, is because we're not willing to take action. But as you're talking about that, and I think about where we are now, I love that line when you said it. You said, don't wait to buy real estate and wait. I was like, I love that line, right? And so talk about that today, because I hear people saying, well, when the market changes, I'm going to buy, or when this happens, I'm going to do, when interest rates come down, when property. So 6 months ago, we're saying, I'm not going to buy right now because people are paying more than what people are asking, right? So people said, I'm not going to get in the market. And I had the bomb realtor. I got in at the height of that, right? But shout out to Sean Langston and Langston Group and Letitia. So I got in the middle, and God worked a miracle for me, right? I'm just going to be honest, okay? So, but here's the thing. People said, I'm not going to buy now because real estate is too expensive. Now we swing and we're 6 months later, and you say, I'm not going to buy now because interest rates are so high. So talk to us a little bit about that, because you don't believe in waiting. I mean, tell us how does someone navigate that?
Okay, so that's a really good question, and I'm glad you asked, because we need to address that. And the average person doesn't know, right? They just don't know. They don't know when to buy. They're listening to all of these talking heads on TV. A lot of them don't even own real estate, right? You see them on CNBC or Fox or wherever they're from, and they're not out here buying. They're not out here doing that. I literally met my appraiser. I'm refinancing a 57-unit apartment complex. I have literally met the appraiser there this morning, and yesterday I met the VP of the bank. So I'm on the phone with these people, with the people in the front lines lending money, and really what's happening in the front line. I'm in the front line, meeting these people at my assets, talking to them on a daily basis. And what I will tell you is this. Real estate is very forgiving long term. It's proven that, right? It's in the long run, it's extremely forgiving. So even if you overpay for real estate, as I use my own example, even if you overstay it, and I don't recommend that, by the way. I don't recommend overpaying for real estate. So I'm not, but even if you did, what I am suggesting is that even if you did, and you just hang in there and you make your payments and you stay in the long game, it's always going to pay off. Because historically, right, the history has shown us that it always pays off. So to address your question, right, so I host I host a meetup every month where I teach investors how to do this. I also, I'm keynoting a lot of different places where I'm out there educating and sharing this stuff on real estate. And here's the thing. The most important thing that you can do is what you're doing, right? Is what you're doing, what you're providing is education. Understand your numbers. Look, here's the thing, right? I'm going to give you an example. If I'm buying, so people get caught up with interest rates, right? People get caught up with interest rates. Okay, yes. So if interest rates go up, my payments go up. Even as an investor, because that's the beauty of real estate, you leverage it. It's leverage, so I could put 5%, 10%, get the rest, and cash flow and get my return on what
Leverage.
I'm
Yeah,
putting down,
absolutely.
right? But okay, so when I understand the numbers, right? When I understand the numbers, so if I can understand logistically, okay, if my mortgage payment is going to be this, and my income is this, my expenses is Y, so vacancy, maintenance, repairs, right? Taxes and insurance and property manager. You should always have a property manager if you're going to play this game. Do it as if you would as a professional. Do it like the big corporations do it. You just include the numbers. And once all those expenses are paid, if you still are cash flowing and you're happy with that number after you make your mortgage payment, it doesn't matter what the interest rates are. It does not matter. It's just understanding the numbers, right?
Gotcha.
Understanding the numbers. So if I'm buying a property, right? I'm gonna ask you this question, Tony. If you buy a property, if I propose to you a property, hey, you're gonna pay 11% interest rate, but you bought it so right because you know how to. You're in the network with real estate investors. We're trading deals all the time, off market deals. We'll buy. Listen, we have on the contract right now an 18-unit hotel for $1 million, right? Which we're going to go in there, turn it into multifamily, increase the rents, and force appreciate the value to $1.8 million in 12 months, right? That's $800,000 in profit in 12 months, right? When I refi it. So once you understand this stuff and you start educating yourself, it's what Robert Kiyosaki talks about. You don't pay taxes on refi, right?
Right.
So I buy it right. I buy it low. I improve the asset. I increase the rents. I go to the bank. I refinance. I cash out. Guess who's paying for the mortgage? The tenants are, right? The residents are paying for the mortgage. And I still have money left over, but yet I cashed out 800,000 and I can go do what with that again now?
Buy more property.
I could go play again and build more wealth and create more cash flow. And guess what happens to that original asset over time? It continues to appreciate. Rents go up while my mortgage payment stays the same, but rents continue to grow up. The value continues to go up. And now I could give that to my kids one day if I'm gone. We talked about that a little bit, you and I. I can pass that legacy on to my children in the future. We're not taught this stuff, Tony. We're not taught this.
Right.
So education, right? So when we talk about, when you talk about, understanding is the first thing is education. But before education, there's one really important component that needs to happen.
What's that component?
There's one really important component, and is you gotta be committed to become better. You gotta be committed. You gotta have a change of mindset because money is energy. Money is energy.
Right.
So expand on that a little bit because I like that. Money is energy, and what you're talking about, Martin, transcends real estate, right? Because you said make a commitment to be better at whatever you're doing, right? Whether you're real estate, whether you're on a job, make a commitment that you're gonna become the best version of yourself. But talk a little bit about that money being energy.
I'll give you an example. When was the last? What does the average person do when you go to Dunkin' Donuts, right? When you go to Dunkin' Donuts and you pay with cash, a lot of us don't use cash, but let's say you have a couple of dollars in your pocket and you pay with cash, and your change is 2 cents. You've seen this. Both of you have seen this, right? Both of you have seen this where people just leave it there or throw it in the jar, or people will drop a penny on the floor and they won't bother to bend down, pick it up. They'll just leave it on the floor, or you'll walk over 5 cents, or you won't. So money is energy. I learned this at a seminar I went, the Millionaire Mind Intensive course. And what I learned was that money is an energetic field, right? It's energy. So if you disrespect it, if you disrespect money, money won't come to you. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. I bought a property. You'll never see me walk after I learned that, wherever I go, I could be anywhere, and I see a penny, I'm going to go out of my way, pick it up. And not only am I going to go pick it up, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to thank God for it. God, thank you for blessing me with this penny, baby. Thank you. Right? Because he's giving me that penny. So if he gives me one, if he's giving me that little freebie, then he'll give me big ones too. It's energy, is an energetic thing. You attract.
Well, you know, that's so important. And we can tie that biblically, right? So if being stewards over a little, like the talents, right? So all that type of thing is if you be a good steward over a little, he'll give you much. But if you don't, and I thought that was so interesting that the example that you were using and where I thought you were going with it is like most people will walk over a penny, but if it's $100 bill laying down there, they're going to expend the energy to get it. And the other thing that I'm seeing here, Martin, is gratitude.
Yep.
So in all things, right, give thanks. In all things, give thanks. And the reason sometimes we don't get out of the rut that we're in is because we have an ungrateful mindset, an ungrateful attitude to the things that we do have because we're so busy looking at what we don't have.
100%. 100%. I have a journal. I have it upstairs in my office, on my desk. I have a journal that I journal every morning and every night. And the journal, it's an elite journal. My mentor actually created. You can look it up on Amazon. And basically I write there, the top 3 things I write every morning is the top 3 things I'm grateful for that day. For that morning, that's how I start the morning. Top 3 things I'm grateful for. Then my top 3 goals for the year. And then the top 3 things that I can do today, action, massive action. The top 3 things that I can do today that's going to get me closer to those goals. Today, not tomorrow. Top 3 things, and then the world wins, the to-do list. Right? So you said something that's extremely important, and that's grace. And before attitude, right? Before the education, where I was going with it was before the education, you gotta make a decision that you want better, that you want a better life, right? That you deserve better, like that you have to decide, hey, whatever it is for you. So if you're working a 9 to 5 and whatever your goal is, whatever that goal is, that whatever better means to you is what I'm trying to say. Whatever better means to you, you got to make a decision and commit to that better. Once that better is decided, right, then so that goal, so basically is pick a goal. Like this year, and I'll say it here publicly, this year I'm committed to buying 150 to 200 additional units. And I want to do that in 2 or 3 transactions. That's 250, 260 unit apartment buildings, or 2 100 unit apartment buildings, or 3 60 unit apartment buildings. That's what I'm committed to this year, right? And I'm going to take steps every single day to hit that. So, but the first, you got to know that. You got to know that. What is it that you want? What is it that you're going to go after? Once you know that, then the next step after that is focus, right? Because where your focus goes, energy flows and results show.
Got it.
You got to focus on that. You got to focus. And then once you focus on it, and one of the ways I do that is by writing it down every day and then saying, what are the top 3 things I'm going to do today to get me closer to that? Well, one of the things I did today was I met my appraiser at my 50-unit apartment building because I have to refinance that. I have $1 million I have to give back in returns to a group of investors that invested in that deal with me. So they invested in the deal with me. It's been with me for a year. I'm going to double their money, right? But that's because I made a commitment some time ago to get better. I made a commitment time ago to learn that no matter what, I was going to get better. No matter what, I was going to do what those guys are doing on that podcast. I'm going to do what Robert Kiyosaki is doing. I'm not going to make any excuses, nor will I accept any excuses because I don't have an education, because of the color of my skin, because of whatever. I wasn't going to allow excuses for myself. I was going to do it because I believed and I am committed to being smart enough. Hey man, if you can do it, Tony, I guess what? I can do it too.
Right. God is
The
no
way
respect of the person. Martin, God is no respect of the person. What he'll do for one, he'll do for the other. The thing that holds us back is again our own mindset, right? Our own mindset. And I love that in terms of, because Michelle and I were talking a lot about this last week about having goals, right? And having smart goals, measurable goals, goals that you have written down on paper. And there is something about writing it down. There's something about taking that action and actually writing it out. I think there's power in that.
To your listeners is tell people, right? Because it holds you accountable. Like, hey, I'm going here publicly. This is the third podcast I go on this week that I said, it's Tuesday, that I said I'm committed to doing 200 doors. Guess what? I'm committed to buying 200 doors. I'm gonna do it. I'm looking in Atlanta. I'm looking in different cities because there's not a lot of inventory in my area. So I'm expanding out. I know how to do this thing. So I'm looking out. I'm looking at building teams outside of my area. So is commit to it. You know, I've also announced, hey, one of my physical goal this year is I'm going to run a half a marathon. I told my wife I've been running 40 minutes every day on my treadmill. I said, I've already made it public. Guess what? Guess who's committed? Guess who's on the hook? I am. I'm running that half a marathon.
And you know, the thing about it, Martin, is once you tell somebody that you're going to do it, it's just like, man, and sometimes we don't want to say, I got something going, but I can't tell you, right? I can't tell you. I can't tell you. But when you're committed to it and you say, hey, this is my goal, this is what I'm going to do. And sometimes, you know, we got to believe it enough to verbalize it ourselves. And we just believe in dreaming, thinking big, right? And, you know, so, you know, we talked about this last week, you know, you need to think big because no one gets excited about anything small, you know? And so I love that. So man, here's the thing. Home ownership in the Black and Latino community is so much lower than other communities. I'd just like to get your thoughts on that, and what do you, if there's things that you could suggest that we do, because I think a lot of times too we listen and it's like, okay, well, you're buying all these units and you have these renters. First of all, we know that there's a need for housing, right? Because you alluded to that in the beginning, is that everybody needs food and shelter. So as long as we're on this earth, people are gonna need some place to live. I know that affordable housing is an issue and those type of things, but speak to us about home ownership in our communities.
I'm going to give you a strategy that I let me tell you, Tony, had I known this, I interviewed a guy on my podcast, Dave Perry. He has a podcast too, military something. His name is, he's a military guy. And when I bought my first house at the age of 21, I was 21 when my wife and I bought our first home. And we got an FHA loan. And had I known then what I'm about to share with your listeners, it will change their life. It will change the trajectory of their life. There's something called an FHA loan. So I want to just take a real basic, right? There's something called the Federal Housing Authority FHA loan.
Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac.
Yep, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. You can buy a house for 3.5% down. Okay. A lot of people know about that, right? It's not new news. You can buy a house for 3.5% down. But what if you started attending, or your listeners started attending meetups? So there's an app called the Meetup app, okay? And you can go on there and you can look up your local real estate investors meeting. And they're in every city. Most cities have. I host one here. I'm going to one tomorrow and the day after because I like to attend other ones myself so I can learn. I'm continuously learning. So you go there, you meet some investors, and that's where you find the off-market deals, right? So that's where you find the deals that I buy. Okay. 40, 50% off, right? Off-market, distressed sellers, right? So you go there, right? You learn. Here's what I always tell people. first things first. If you want to play a game, what do you have to do? You have to learn the rules, right?
The rules, right?
Rules of basketball. How do you play basketball, right? Dribble, pass, and shoot. Those are the fundamentals. So in real estate, if you want to play in real estate, you have to learn the rules. Whoever has the money makes the rules. So the first thing you have to do is call your mortgage person and say, hey, check my credit. Here's my income. What do I need to do to qualify for an FHA loan? Okay, start there, right? Let them give you the playbook. Let them give you the playbook. Let them tell you, do this, go do it. In the meantime, go attend meetups. Go find a local meetup in your town. Start talking to guys like me. We find these deals all the time, right? I told you I just bought. Then instead of if you were to the difference, let me share this with you. I get excited about this because I'm really going to give some really gold nuggets here for the listeners, right? The difference between rich people and poor people. Do you know what it is? Do you guys know what it is? It's not money. It's not money. It's actually a discipline. The difference is a rich person, a wealthy person, a self-made wealthy person has the ability to think about the future, sacrifice today for tomorrow, and constantly sacrifice today for tomorrow. A poor person, because we don't have anything, and I'm speaking because I've been there, we've never had anything. What do we do when we get our tax return? We go get a car, we go get clothes, we go on vacation, we go do this. Instead of taking that money and investing it in ourselves, going to a seminar, investing it in an investment, finding someone that can teach us something new. Investing in ourselves is the best investment, right? So that's the difference. Is a wealthy person is constantly thinking about, okay, I got this money, I got enough to live. What do I need to do? How can I put that money to work again? How can I think about tomorrow? What's the next 3 years? What's the next 5 years? One day you're going to wake up, you're going to say, holy smokes, what happened here? Look at all this I've accumulated. Right? Look how far I got. So if you learn, so I'm going to go back to the basics here. Go to your broker, go to a banker, learn the rules. So he who has the money makes the rules. Always remember that. Rule number one. He who has the money makes the rules.
Makes the rules, right.
Right? If I'm going to lend you the money, you got to play by my rules. You can't. Right? So you got to come to me and say, hey, Martin, what's the rules, right? If you want to win the game, you got to know the rules. I'm going to say, hey, here are the rules. Go. Now that you know the rules, so learn about FHA rules, then go and find where the deals are. And I'm going to tell you, the deals are not on the MLS, although they will be soon because we're in a correction. Housing is starting to sit.
We're in that cycle. Yeah, absolutely.
We're in the cycle where you can start very shortly. You're going to be able to start making disrespectful offers, right? Because that's what I call
disrespectful offers. Okay, I got you.
So people were making 40, 50 above asking a year ago. Today, you're going to be able to, very soon, you'll be able to say, hey, 20, 30 below asking is my offer. You want it or not, right? And it can fly because that's the market we're in, and that's the cycle we're in. So just watch that, learn about that, and then go to meetups. And then do something we call house hacking. Go find a 4-unit. Sacrifice, right? Sacrifice a year. Right? Sacrifice a year. Go find a 4-unit that maybe needs a little love. Move in one. Put a little money into it, right? As you collect your rent, you don't even have to do it all in one shot. Remember, rich people sacrifice today for a better tomorrow. They consistently do that. That's how you get wealthy. Consistently doing that. Consistently holding back today and investing and waiting for tomorrow. Reaping, right? Reaping and so on. Buy 1 unit. Live rent-free, save the money, continue to sacrifice, right? Wait a year. FHA rule says if you can after a year, you can go get another one, right? Go get another quad. Watch this. Go get another quad in another year and a half. You rent the one you was living in. Another 3.5%. Well, guess what? The first one, if you saved your money, 3.5% is not a lot of money depending on your market, right? If you live in California, it's going to be a lot of money. But, if you live in another city, it might not be a lot of money, right? Go buy the next one. I'll tell you what, you can become financially free through real estate, house hacking with 3.5%. You can do that 3-4 times before you have all this cash flow. And guess what's happening, guys? Your tenants are paying down your mortgage, you're cash flowing, and that property is appreciating, right?
All at the same time.
You're living rent free. But the first thing is you got to know the rules. Like, hey, what are the rules? Go to your broker. Go to your banker. Say, hey, what are the rules? What do I need? Here's what I got.
So basically, you're buying multiple houses on the FHA.
Basically, with 3%. And if you're a VA,
because you can have more than one FHA mortgage. Is that what you're telling me? You can have
up to 7, I believe.
7?
Up to 7.
Wow.
Well, don't quote me on that because I use commercial loans.
I'm gonna go ask the guy with the money.
Yeah, right. With the money, right? That's right. You nailed it, brother. Go ask the people. Listen. Real estate. There's a pyramid in real estate, right? At the bottom of the pyramid is who we call the wholesalers. So the wholesalers are the guys that go and market the deals, right? And they find the distressed sellers, right? And they bring them to us, the flippers, right? I'll pay that wholesaler a fee to sell me that contract. So I'm buying that paper from him. I'm gonna give him 5, 10, 15, 20 grand, right? Because they negotiated such a sweet deal. They got me a $200,000 house for $50,000 and he's $25,000 or $30,000 worth of work. There's a lot of meat in the bones there, right? There's a lot of profits here, right? So I'll pay him 10 grand, 15 grand, right? So the wholesaler. Then you got the flippers, the guys that buy it from the wholesalers or market themselves and then fix it, rehab it, put it on the market, flip it. Then as you move up the scale, then you got the guys that hold property long term, the buy and hold guys, right? That's where wealth is created, right? The buy and hold guys. And then at the tip of the spear, we have the lenders, the money people. That's it. That's where you want to be. You want to be the money guy. Right now, I'm the operator. I'm the guy that buys, holds, buys, flips. I'm that guy. But once you get to the money guy, then you make the rules. Because guess what? When those guys don't pay you, guess who has the assets? Guess who keeps the asset? The money guy takes the asset, right? So you want to be at the top of the spear, right? So what do? If you're at the bottom of the spear, you go straight to the top and you say, hey, what are the rules? Right? What are the rules? Tell me the rules. That's the cheat code.
And as you're talking about this pyramid, the other thing that I see there, Martin, is the buy and flip is creating income. The buy and hold is creating wealth.
Right.
You know, that's key.
Yeah,
and you got to get enough income, you know, in order to get to the wealth and that type of thing. But, you know, I think all those are the keys. So, man, listen, I can't believe we're almost at 9 o'clock right now. So, man, is there anything just really hot that you want to tell the folks who are listening as we, you know, come to the close of the show? What's that one thing is that I got to tell you this?
That one thing I got to tell you is set your goals, man. Get clear on your goals. Like if there's anything that you do that you take away, I could talk about real estate all day long. I love it, right? I could talk about mindset all day long because that's what I do. I love it. It was attending seminars. The one thing I would tell you is get super clear on what you want out of life. If you do anything, what is it you want? Clarity is power. Your power, Tony, your power, Michelle, my power is my clarity of what it is that I want and the direction I'm going. Right? That is my power, right? That is my power. What is my purpose and where am I going? Figure out what it is that you want. Get really clear. That's your power. Clarity is power. And then focus. On that thing. You know, it's 8 o'clock. It's obvious to me, 9 o'clock now. It's obvious to me, Tony, that you and Michelle and people like us, I mean, listen, we're not getting paid for this. It's 9 o'clock. Here we are giving, right? Right? Because I'm almost willing to bet that all of us here, part of our purpose is to help others and empower others. I know that's my purpose, is to empower others to be the best version of themselves.
It's mine.
Right? Absolutely.
So when you figure out what you want and once you get clarity on what it is that you want, man, everything else starts to fall into place. Everything else starts to fall into place. All of a sudden, you'll hear Tony recommend a book that's gonna send you to learn something new that's gonna make you better. You'll hear a podcast about an event. Invest in yourself, right? And how do you get clear? Clear is investing in yourself, going to events, hang out where the people that are doing the things that you want are hanging out.
There you go. There you
Yep.
go. Yeah, you gotta be in the room, right? You
Gotta
gotta
be
be
in
in
the
the room.
room.
Find them.
And so yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So you know, and I think it's so important that we break this down, right? So I think we got get your clarity, right? Get your focus, and then take massive action. So
Wow.
if for me and my notes coming through tonight, those are the three things that I would say: clarity, focus, and massive action.
Of action. And last, you said it, don't forget it, please, because it's a key component that gels it all together, and that is grace. You got to have grace. You got to be
Mm,
grateful for the little things that you have in order for you to get bigger things and better things to come into your life. You got to be grateful for just, I'm sometimes I write in my journal, I'm grateful for my lungs. I'm grateful that there's some people that can't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Take it for granted.
mm,
Yeah.
I'm grateful just to be breathing, Lord. Thank you, Father, for just allowing me to breathe today, for me to walk, for me to get on my treadmill and be able to have a goal. Just you got to have grace. That is the gel, the glue that holds it all together. Be grateful for all the little
gratitude.
things, the bad. Gratitude is extremely important.
You know, the other thing that as you were
Yeah.
saying that we were listening the other day to someone talking about, and they were breaking down. They did a study, and I can't remember. My wife could cite it better than I can about the one difference that make people happy and longevity in their life was relationships. And I think about
Mm-hmm.
that, and I think about if I look at the three of us on this screen, I'm seeing what 80 plus years of marriage, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Michelle has 30 with her husband, I got 30, and I think you told me you're like 21 or something like that.
26
And
together, 21 married.
yeah, and so relationships are how you enjoy all that you work so hard for, is being able to have those relationships. We talked a lot about family and those type of things is very important, and so I love that, and just being grateful. And I think you said it earlier, whatever you see you get, and whatever you put into the atmosphere. So it says that you know he'll give seed to the sower, right? And there's this thing of reaping and harvest,
Mm-hmm.
and what comes out of your mouth is the seed that you're sowing.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's negative, guess what's going to come back to you?
Right.
Negativity. If it's positive, guess what's going to come back to you? Positivity. And so it's a law. It's a spiritual
Yeah.
law that whatever you put in the atmosphere, that shall you get back. And so I love it, man. I love it. I love how you share your testimony of what you've been through. And the other thing for me, the icing on the cake, is that you give God the glory.
Yeah, man.
And that's so important. So we love that here, man. We love it. Michelle, anything you got to add before I start preaching tonight? Come on, girl.
Man, I'm just learning. Like everything he talked about, at the top of the hour, we talked about vision. You got to have a vision. You got to know where you're going,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and then gaining clarity and then concentrating that into focus. Like, stop doing the frivolous stuff and get to the business of making your vision come true.
Right.
Um, and then take action, because we hear a lot of good things, right? We hear them. But if you don't ever do anything with it, how can you begin to reap the benefit of it? And then just be grateful. So
Yeah.
I love
Through it
everything
all.
you
Through it
said.
all.
Through it all, just be grateful
Just be
and thank
grateful.
mhm, for
I,
where you are, right now.
Listen, Paul said, I have learned to be abased. That means, and I've learned to be hungry, right? And so
Mhm,
we have to have this, we have to find this in ourselves where I'm grateful for where I am.
mhm,
Now I'm not going to be stagnant where I am,
right.
but I've learned to be satisfied. I've learned to be thankful where I am while I'm still pushing for more.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so, some people are just pushers, right? They just push,
Mhm.
push, 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 never take the time to be grateful for what they have. And
Mhm.
then there's people that just become complacent. So the,
Yeah.
the, the real balance in this is to have some, as you describe, grace and gratitude, and still have this desire to continue to grow.
Right.
And when we become the better version of ourselves, it helps everyone around us as
Yes.
well. And so, listen, somebody said, man, come back again. Michelle, you've been doing this show with me for a year and a half. I've been
I
doing it
know.
for 2.5 years. I've never had somebody put that in the chat. I never had somebody put
No,
it in
you're
the chat
right.
that come back
Come
again.
back
So we're
again.
going to make sure we do that, man. We're going to check back in with you. And I want to thank you for having me on your podcast as well. We just had a great time, and so man, I just appreciate it, man. So thank you for being here. Thank you all for watching. This is available on YouTube. If you know someone that you think would benefit from this information, they go to our YouTube page, click on live, and this will be there tomorrow. It'll be there. So, Martin, man, thank you
My friend,
again. Whether
Yes,
if
thank
there's something
you.
and if you
Michelle,
find your way, do not come into the Carolinas and not let me know.
I will
Okay.
make sure
All
that
right. So, man,
people can check me out, check out my podcast, Latinos and Real Estate Investing
yeah,
Podcast.
do that. Do that.
Talking
Tell
about
us.
constantly talking about these type of concepts. I'm constantly bringing on really high level people. I bring a lot of different people. I had you there, Tony, talking about just how their story and how they come from nothing, lots of time. Like I told you, I had a guy that just has 120 units now, military guy, VA, and he figured out the money situation, right? He figured, hey, if a VA is willing to give me 100% finance, that means I could go buy a 4-unit, 100% zero out of my own pocket. And he went and repeated the process. Voila, guy created wealth, right? Guy created a bunch. So
Wow.
people like that, just we're teaching constantly, giving, just giving and serving. Check out my Instagram. You can check out my YouTube as well.
So tell us again the name of the podcast.
It's Latinos and Real Estate Investing Podcast.
All right, and then your social media.
Just look up Martin Perdomo, the Elite Strategist, and I'm gonna come up all over the place.
Awesome.
Because you're
All right, everybody, there it is, man. We appreciate it. If you need more information, you can always reach out to me. Listen, have a great time. Make sure you dial in on Saturday for our show. And thank you, Harvey Jones. Harvey Jones said, God doesn't bless us to raise our standard of living, but he blesses us to raise the standard of living, standard of giving. Shalom, shalom. There it is. That's the drop the mic moment, y'all. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Have a good night.